All right, so Randy, as we get started here, tell us where we're heading and where we're at.
So this is all phase 2 construction. It's about 40% of the total project in terms of square footage. What you see directly behind me with the unfinished CMU is our Area K. This is our metal fabrication, construction trades, aquaponics, floral, and we'll get an opportunity to walk inside of that. There'll be exterior CMU that finishes out this building. What you see here to the left or to the east is our existing classroom wing. So you can see how the existing classroom wing wraps around phase 2. And if you remember correctly, about where that corner of Area K was where the old classroom wing was.
Yeah.
So the old classroom wing had to come down in order to build phase 2. So we'll get started and we'll go through, and the first area we're going to get to see is the construction trade site. So the construction trade site will be to the east half of the Area K portion of the building. When the project is complete, all parts of the building are accessible from inside of the building. So even our ag wing, construction trades wing, is accessible from the rest of the classroom wing. So this building that we're in right now replaces our 81 building. The building across the street that was built in 1981. This section that we're in, this east half, is all construction trades. That's a finishing glue room over there. There's tool rooms, a locker area, an entry area, and an office for the instructor.
This is all part of the Career Academy. This is something that we've not had before at the high school, right?
This is an expansion into skills and technical sciences. This would be something we'd had some offering over at the 81 building and within our old building, but this will allow us to expand those offerings. So you can see the large overhead door so that we can build walls and wall sections and take them out to the job site. You can see up above the mezzanine storage.
Oh yeah.
Extra storage above. The mezzanine storage above here as well. And then off to the back corner is our engineering CAD lab. So students can come in here and draw and do the CAD and the engineering for a structure in this classroom, and then they can see it being built out here in the construction trades area and participate in that process as well. So when this is all done, this will have your large area printers, this will have your CAD computer, your ribbon, your BIM building information modeling software. That will be housed in this room. And as you can see, it's all got
This room will be a little more finished than the outer work area out there.
Correct. This will be finished like a typical classroom when it's all done.
Yeah.
You can see the floor boxes to support all the electrical and data needs with all the computers in this space. That's a printer room for some of the larger, more noisy printers that require exhaust. Some of the engravers. And then this hallway kind of serves to divide the space between construction trades and ag and metal fabrication. Straight to the south, when this building is all complete, what you're seeing is the door that will go into the classroom wing. And so you can see the brick on the wall behind us. That is actually the exterior of the new classroom wing that was just built and turned over to us last January. So eventually you'll be able to go straight through.
That'll just be a straight walk through.
Correct. Yeah. We'll go on over to the other side. We would have an aquaponics and a floral classroom in these two classrooms. And they have a view out to the outdoor courtyard, outdoor plaza. We'll be out through these windows here. We'll look into the other room here. Just through this door would be the entry into our greenhouse. So we can actually step out here and you can see just how big the greenhouse is. So this is actually the footing and the foundation for the greenhouse. You can see the water. The electrical has been roughed in from the building to serve it. You can see what the exterior of the Area K construction will look like when it's all done.
Yeah.
Over here, this will all be outdoor plaza and outdoor classrooms. So when this is all done, there will be a mix of paving and landscaping. And right over here, kind of in the center between where the corner of this building and where the mill is for the mortar, there's an outdoor classroom. There's a round radius seating area with a kind of a lecture deal in the middle, and the whole class is out here outside.
And this is totally not even visible from the street or anywhere.
No,
Yeah.
no. It'll have trees. It's accessible from our art room, so they can come out and draw. Natural light, and it's all visible through our library, which we'll walk through in a little bit. But you can see the exterior curtain wall, and then there's an interior curtain wall as well. There's gates that will control access towards the back, so they'll be able to get to leave in case of an emergency, but they can't come back in without being badged back in, so you can control access. And then back behind the greenhouse is a little area for planting, for planter beds to do our farm to table initiative, to work with our food service provider Taher to grow things like herbs and vegetables and stuff here to actually be used in the classes here. So we'll go back through and kind of walk through welding, metal fabrication. There's two classrooms. This would be one classroom. The other classroom is over there. There's a small, in between these two doors, there's a small storage area. Storage and a small computer lab area in here. And then it opens up into our welding fabrication.
These are going to be nice open classroom areas in here, aren't they?
Very much so. This is all going to be basically open along this west wall. So that blocked out area there, which is where our oxygen and acetylene are stored. There's 15 welding hoods that line that. All the welding hoods are 5 foot wide and 34 inches deep. They're 36 inches tall, so you can comfortably stand and weld. And there's 288 booths at the far south end. This will be our live animal bay and animal lab.
Would that, you mean like when you say animals, like for veterinary sciences, or?
So this would be the lab space, and we'll walk around and I'll show you where the live animal bay inside would be. We also have our biodiesel program, which would be over in that corner of the construction trades classroom. We'll walk around here. You can see it's got a nice big overhead door. So we're doing our welding and fabrication. We can fabricate something and then take it off-site. The oxygen and acetylene are accessible from outside, so the vendors can come and change bottles without interrupting class.
Oh, that's great. Very efficient.
Yeah. And here's our live animal bay area. So you can see they're blocking it in now, but the building encompasses 3 sides of it and has a ceiling, and there's fence animals, livestock animals that cover the 4th side.
Sure, yeah. Wow, that's something.
We're going to go through the north so we can avoid some of the mud and come into the Freshman Academy. We do get some parking back here, so...
Yeah, I was just going to ask about this. This will all be paved up, right?
Correct. We get all this parking back here up against the football practice field. And then we'll get all this parking where the contractors are parking now. That'll all come back to us as well.
Great, great.
See the exterior of the building, and I make note of that because as we get around to the north further, you can see they're installing the Z-channel to put up the insulated metal paneling that's going to cover the building. So much like our gym in the phase 1, we'll have the similar metal paneling.
Okay.
Both left of the whole building.
Yeah.
The only part of the building that we kept in phase 2 was this north area, what we call J North. J North was our old cafeteria.
I was just going to ask that, if this wasn't the old cafeteria and kitchen area.
It sure changed a lot. So actually where you're standing right here, you can see the elevated pad. This was where the walk-in freezer and coolers were.
Yeah.
And you used to access them from these openings in the wall from the building.
Oh my.
We'll walk to the north here. We'll go through the other way. These are actually science classrooms. We'll get an opportunity to go through those here shortly. So this used to be, this was our old custodial space, and this was where the master distribution panel for all the electrical was. Now it'll become mostly storage. The only electrical feeders that remain just serve the splash arena. Everything else is now fed from our new main electrical master distribution panel in phase 1. So all that stuff has been backfed through. Again, to save costs, this
Has that been changed over yet?
It's already been changed over. To save costs, we didn't do a lot with this area because it's going to be used for custodial spaces and storage again. So it'll pretty much maintain the same look in here. It'll get cleaned up obviously and some paint, but this was our old mechanical room. And I only make note of it because it's cleaned up a bunch. If anybody had an opportunity to be in here before, there were 2 very large storage tanks here. There was a great big water softener. This room was just full of equipment. All that remains now is the boiler that serves the splash arena, and then the old boiler that used to serve the domestic hot water for the high school has been repurposed as a backup boiler for the splash arena. We'll go through, and as we transition through, we're actually in the freshman academy at this point. So this is just a storage room for teachers and staff. These are math classrooms. These are going to be similar square footage to what we saw in phase 1. So
Yeah.
around 820, 850 square feet. One pretty cool element of these is the way that they added some natural light to the building. They cut the openings in and put in some storefront glass. Just like in phase 1, we have all magnetic whiteboards. We have the Epson short throw projection smart boards. We have the audio enhancement systems. They all have the Wi-Fi access. All the casework cabinetry. And if you recall from phase 1, we had a color scheme for every portion of the building.
Right.
Well, the freshman academy is orange.
Doing the same thing here.
So this will have that orange accent carpet on the front side of the room, the teaching head wall, and then the rest of the room will have that similar gray carpet for the back side. We can walk through, you can see the ceilings are in, all LED lights just like in phase 1.
That has to be a huge savings right there, having the LED in here for the long-term electrical cost for the school district.
Tremendous savings in energy usage. The other thing is maintenance cost. An LED fixture will last 50,000 hours. A typical fluorescent is somewhere between 6,000 to 8,000. So just think about all the bulbs and ballast and stuff that we would be changing if we don't have to.
Exactly.
This lighting system, we can actually dial in to the system from my office, and I can tell you how many hours each light is run, how many daylight hours of daylight it's harvested, how many hours the room's been occupied, right down to the light.
That's pretty high tech.
Pretty neat. Along the walls in here are infilled with lockers like you saw in phase 1. The difference between phase 1 and phase 2 is there is enough lockers in phase 2 for every freshman student. We didn't necessarily do that in phase 1 because sophomores, juniors, and seniors are much more mobile and they're taking classes at WNCC, and so we see that they don't use their lockers as much, but we felt like it was an important element for the freshmen. We'll continue to come back around. Again, another math classroom here, and then this is our curved curtain wall that you were able to see from the outside.
Right.
You can see they're working on putting up the glass on the interior curtain wall, and the exterior curtain wall is complete.
So there's a look from the inside at where the outdoor classroom is going to be.
Right. This is a good view right out to the greenhouse and the outdoor classroom. This is our library. It's the media center. We'll go around
Place your order with Jen and get the beautiful cake you've been dreaming of.
While we're standing right here, when the project is complete, you'll be able to look from here right down past that yellow wall, and that would be just outside of the boardroom, and you'll be able to see all the way to the commons. So it gives you an idea of
So we're just waiting to break that wall down.
As I mentioned, the library and media center. There's a large circulation desk there for the librarians. These are breakout spaces for students. They have 55-inch monitors on the wall, and then there's a table here. They can plug their Chromebooks or iPads or laptops into here, and they can display their work on the 55-inch screen, so they can work in small groups, 3 to 4 people together. Back behind us, in that curved wall behind us, is the achievement center. And then the achievement center has breakout spaces in this room. Another room back behind here. And then they also have some seating. There's all kinds of flexible seating out in the library and media center for it to be used as well. So we have group spaces back here. And then the office spaces for the folks that work in the Achievement Center. Facing Warren and Billy Smith.
Boy, this is really going to be a nice space.
Yeah, our librarian office is back here. And then there's a small library support area for her to work on books and the binding and such of the books. The lights aren't all programmed just yet, but we can...
Just walk in and they come on. Sensational.
And then this room to my right is what the IT department is is calling Chrome Depot. So this is what we see here. Chromebooks. This is
sure.
IT folks will be stationed over here, and they'll be able to check out and check in Chromebooks and work on them from this location. There'll be a few IT folks who will be staffed here all the time. Of course, they work throughout the district, but this will be one of their home bases. Mm-hmm. So this would be a roll-up door, similar to what we have in our concession and bistro, solid surface countertop. We'll go through the computer lab, just off the library here. This was a space we kind of went back and forth on because so many schools are going to one-to-one initiative, and we weren't sure where we were going to land on that. We are kind of transitioning to that path, but we still felt like a computer lab was important for testing or for flexibility. So we did go ahead and build it with all the data and electrical ports that would be needed for a computer lab. So you can see the floor boxes, all the data and electrical, and see we got its own sub-distribution panel. It'll still be set up like a classroom, so it'll still have intercoms and Wi-Fi. Believe it or not, just outside of this it's hard to envision, but this hallway that we're standing in right now was the plaza area just north of the boardroom. This white wall behind us is the exterior wall of our boardroom.
Really?
So this used to be outside, all this.
Wow.
That's just
You got me there. Now that totally disoriented me when you told me that.
It'll make sense as we come around the corner. You'll kind of get to see where the doors were that used to come in from into the classroom
Yeah.
from the gym. So, as you probably heard, on Veterans Day we announced that we were awarded the Junior ROTC program.
Yes.
That'll all be housed right in here. So that's the entry to our boardroom, which essentially stays the same as it was. It does get repainted to match the color scheme of the building. But this area becomes all Junior ROTC. They have it masked up to paint. But this whole area, which was the old admin area, will become Junior ROTC. And then to my left over here is the auxiliary gym. In between the two red pillars, the red CMU, this will be trophy cases, and you can see where the block changes from honed face to decorative, and that's the height of your trophy cases. Believe it or not, those doors right there are the old doors that brought you out from the gym to the old classroom.
Well, yeah, now that you explained it, but it sure doesn't look like it.
Oh, it sure looks a lot different, doesn't it? That's actually the entry to the training room, that door right there. This will become our foundation office, this first office here, and this is athletic storage. This room we reserved for future audio enhancements for the gym, for the auxiliary gym. And as you step foot in here, you can see this is our auxiliary gym. The hoops are up, the walls are painted, the scoreboards are up, and you see the large gray units sitting around the gym. Those are humidifiers. They're humidifying the air and acclimating the wood so that we can get the wood flooring installed. So when you stepped in, you notice that you stepped down. That's because that's the height of our new athletic gym floor.
Is that going to be the same type of floor as you used on the full gym?
Yes, yeah, similar. We're going to go with a different sleeper system, but essentially the same system. It's got a dividing curtain to divide the two half courts. We repurposed the scoreboards from our old gym. So with the help of the Booster Club, as you might recall, they purchased new scoreboards for our gym, our softball field, and our football field. We saved the old scoreboards, and they're being reused in here.
Great.
Speaking of reuse, if you look straight up above you, see the cables hanging down? Those are the mat hoists. These mat hoists were at the middle school, and they were in the cafetorium, and they weren't widely used because of their location. So our staff removed them, and we put them in the contract for Houseman to reinstall them in the new auxiliary gym. This way we were hauling mats back and forth a lot, now we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
We can still store them up out of the way.
Something that wasn't getting a lot of use will get a lot more, and probably what it was intended for now.
Right.
Excellent.
All the hoops lower and raised. One feature that these hoops have that our others don't have was our Junior Bearcats program wanted to use these for youth sports, and so they paid for these hoops to be lowered from the 10-foot height down to a lower height. So all these hoops through a manual can be lowered all the way down to 8 foot. So when you're working with your littler kids, they can participate too.
Oh, that's nice.
See the windows up high for natural light. And we get asked a lot about, aren't you reusing the geothermal system? These pipes on the wall are actually from the geothermal system. So these go all the way up to an air handler on the roof. What that says is condenser water supply in return. And these feed up to the air handler and they return turn back through and back out to the root system.
I've been wanting that for 12 years, Paul.
Hey, where's Tony and Ricky and Lucy?
I don't know. Who knows where he's got them?
Again, we've got the building set up so where we can kind of partition off for events. Consistent with that, we've located our weights and wrestling room near our auxiliary gym and our other gym. So this room that we're going into right now, this is our wrestling room. So the mats will come within about 5 or 6 feet of this wall. We'll have wall mats around these 3 sides. This will be just a walkway. We have direct access outside. There's a small scale room to the front there so the kids can weigh in and check their weight for wrestling. And of course, we use it for during the day for PE classes for aerobics and things like that as well. Quite a bit larger than what we have now. This will also get us back in one building again. So the goal has always been to try to get us back into one building. So when we're done, the weights and wrestling that are currently in the splash building will move back over here. We plan to move the weight or the wrestling room over Christmas break, and then we'll move the weight room over in March after swim season. Right now, the only way to get that weight equipment out, remember it's up above, is to work around the pool. And so we'd like to do that when we could maybe drain the pool partially, so that if something did inadvertently go into the pool, we're not sending divers to it here. So that will happen in early March. And right next door, speaking of weights, is our weight room. Looks like they have a mask off, but we can come through and look through the windows on the side here. So from this block wall all the way to the edge over here, this is all weight room. We'll see if we can get in the north door. This will be the second entrance to the library media center. This will be the freshman academy restroom. Notice it's set up exactly the same way as the other restrooms. It's got the same soffit coloring, drinking fountain setup, fixture selection and tile. You see the partitions are in, fixtures are in. We get in this other doorway for the weight room.
And this was the window where you come and get your Chromebooks.
That's right. And this is the weight room.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be set up probably with your cardio equipment along this wall facing more the glass, more the weight equipment, and then leave the center open for dynamic starts and stuff like that, sled drags, things like that. Office for the supervising coach or PE teacher there. And just like any other classroom, because we do use it as a classroom for PE as well, it has your speakers for intercom access back to the office. We also use those speakers to trigger an SRP or standard response protocol if we had a lockdown or lockout. That's how our teachers and students know what to do to get that drill started, or heaven forbid, a real emergency.
Yeah, the real thing. Yeah.
So, let's see. This threshold is a key point.
I was going to say it looked like a little different here.
Yeah, so this is new building. This is old building. So we're back into where the kitchen, cafeteria. Remember, these were the old science labs, and they've all been remodeled, and now they're social studies and English classrooms. So you can see they're essentially set up the same as the math classrooms. The only difference is they don't have the second set of whiteboards.
Yeah.
We just use a lot more whiteboard space in math than in some of the other programs. Same projector, same audio visual, enhancements, same Wi-Fi, same lights, and the same exterior lighting. And again, we're in the freshman academy, so the same orange accent wall. This is a commons area. If you remember on second floor, at the end, or the end, we called area E of our classroom wing, there was a little student breakout area. Remember, it's got the lights that hang over the stadium-style seating in that stairwell. Well, this is designed to be that same thing, to be another little area where kids can break out and come. There'll be seating here for the kids to collaborate and work on projects and such. There's 2 more classrooms here to the north. And we'll loop back around to the science lab classroom. So these classrooms are all the same square footage, but they're configured a little bit differently because we're working within an existing footprint. But essentially, this is the same square footage.
As I walk around here, it has more of a college feel to me. Is that by design?
That's by design. That's really with the Career Academy's model. We've actually heard people. It's funny. I uploaded photos of the Commons area to my Google, and I just wanted to search a Google image, and it came up with malls.
Yeah, it does look like that.
So. We wanted that nice open feel, that collaborative feel. So that's where you see all the glass that was added. We wanted that collaboration feel for students and staff. We'll put that around here. So this area in between this block wall and the other block wall, this was actually the kitchen. So from this column to that column right there, you see this whole big gray soffit? That was the kitchen. And I'll show you, that soffit is the same location where there used to be that moving wall that closed the kitchen down or opened it up. And what this soffit hides, see how deep it is compared to the rest of the soffits, there's a large joist girder here, and that's what that wall, that moving wall, was attached to. And so it had to stay in place, and they just wrapped it with a soffit. So these are 2 science labs. They're going to be larger. They're going to be the 1,200 square feet about. The other side has the chem hood, so there's one chemical hood. We reused it from the existing building, so we didn't have any added expense there. It was fairly new. There was one dishwasher that was fairly new that we reused from the existing building. We added another one, but they have the centralized gas controls to shut off in case of emergency. They have all the extra casework and cabinetry because of the type of experiments and such that they use. This will have those tables that we had in phase 1 that can roll over and create a lab space at every sink location. We have gas at every sink. They still have the same short throw interactive projection technology, the same audio enhancements, same whiteboards. So, and then they'll have a view of the tennis courts. So again, put it in perspective, this would have been one of your doors to the walk-in freezer or cooler. It's coming right along.
Well, there will be no phase 1, phase 2. When this is finished, I can very much tell that it's going to feel like just all one entire project here.
Right. And all the area designations have already kind of started to go away. You know, what we call areas D, E, and F, everybody knows is just the classroom wing, first or second floor. And what we know is Area A, which is the commons, is already just the commons and admin. So it's already started for that to happen in phase 1 and where everything's tied together. It'll happen in phase 2 as well. We have 2 main hallways that come into this area J, one outside of the gym, like we'd seen outside the auxiliary gym, and then the other that will go straight down to the commons like we looked at. And then there's a main hallway from the building to area K as well. So when it's all done, it's all tied in and pretty seamless.
Very nice.
It's really a credit to our design team, because if you think about how difficult a project this was, they had to build an L classroom around an existing structure so that we still had a classroom to work in, and then demolish that structure to facilitate all the second phase. So what really drove the footprint of this school was a lot of, had to do with what the existing footprint was, and having to work in that while we were doing construction on the first phase. When phase 2 is completed, it really opened things up for us. Remember that we gained quite a few classrooms. Besides bringing the 81 building over here so that everything's under one roof, we also gained classrooms we haven't had for the last year. So we have all these 8 classrooms that we haven't had for the last year. So that'll help get teachers into their, more consistent with their group locations. We actually still have 2 flex classrooms too. They're towards the center here. Remember we tried to have a flex classroom for every content area?
Right.
And since we were in the freshman academy, we just put in 2 back to back. They're set up just like a regular classroom.
Under normal circumstances, then what would these just sit idle?
They'll sit idle for some. We'll have, these will be spaces for us to grow into. Ironically, you know, when we built the project, we designed the building for 1,200, and if we went to a heavy utilization where teachers moved from classroom to classroom, we could accommodate as many as 1,500. We thought that'd give us some room for growth, but our census has really grown. It did flatten out a little bit this year, but we've grown at the high school over the last few years. So as a district, our census has kind of tapered off, but as a high school, it's gone up. I'd have to go with Mr. Holly to know the exact numbers, but it's quite a bit more than when we started construction.
Maybe needing that space sooner than you thought.
We might need it sooner than later. So this will also give us back some of our career academy space, because remember, some of our achievement center and academic support has been used over there in the counseling areas, and they'll get an opportunity to move some of those things into their permanent areas now. So it'll be nice.
Okay.
I think if we go back this way, it really kind of takes us kind of full circle back to where we started. It's amazing to see the difference. I mean, even though it's not finished, all flooring will be going in here shortly, and you saw they were unloading carpet. This is new, and we just take a few steps, and this is kind of what we had before.
Yeah.
Old block walls.
Right back into the...
It's almost like going back in time.
Yeah, the one flashback here. You go back into the old maintenance area, I guess.
Here's the metal paneling going up. What they're doing is installing Z-channels to give the air gap, and then the metal paneling will go up to that, and it's insulated metal paneling. Essentially, this building before was just brick, so there wasn't really any R value or insulation. So now we're going to get the insulation in that metal paneling.
Excellent. Okay, Randy, well, I guess that's full circle, so I appreciate you taking us through again.
Thank you for having it, or coming out to see it.
All right.